the sharp office is to be co-hosting Women's Equality Day with our Equal Opportunity Office. And I am especially grateful for the opportunity to introduce our guest speaker, Mrs. Arita Bohannan. So you can see from reading her bio that Mrs. Bohannan is a well-accomplished woman. You can read it in her bio. She's a woman who understands and embraces the power of the vote, a woman who understands what those before her fought for and has honored their legacy by paying it forward. What you don't know about Arita is she has experienced her own tragedy. And because of that tragedy, her life could have taken a different turn. She could have become cynical and turned her back on the world. However, she overcame her victimization and moved forward. She is a wife, a mother, a role model in her community, an accomplished attorney who owns her own law firm, and a successful author. Her book is right over there. Her most recent work is Docket number 76. It's a tribute to her work as an attorney and a young girl who is resilient and continues to move forward. The video you are about to see is a tribute to Mrs. Bohannan and women who demonstrate who demonstrate through their life, they also understand and appreciate what those before them endured and acquired for them. The video demonstrates women who have suffered defeat and moved past tragedy, women celebrating success and paying it forward. But most of all, it demonstrates the resilience of women. After you watch this video, the next voice you hear will be that of our esteemed guest speaker, Mrs. Arita M.L. Bohannan. Thank you.
All right.
Growing up in Mississippi, my prayer was, for as long as I can remember, God, use me. Use me, use this life. I don't know what the future holds for me, but I know that there is a vision for my life that is greater than my imagination can hold. Use me, use me. What would you have me to do? And that dream, that desire, that prayer brought me somehow to television.
And she's gonna learn that this life will hit you hard in the face. Wait for you to get back up just so it can kick you in the stomach. But getting the wind knocked out of you is the only way to remind your lungs how much they like the taste of air.
If we want to give all of our children a foundation for their dreams and opportunities worthy of their promise, if we want to give them that sense of limitless possibility, their belief that here in America there is always something better out there if you're willing to work for it, then we must work like never before.
To those waiting with bated breath for that favorite media catchphrase, the U-turn, I have only one thing to say. U-turn if you want to. The ladies not for turning.
You might never fail on the scale I did, but some failure in life is inevitable. It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail by default.
Each of us must truly be a woman in the world. We need to be as fearless as the women whose stories you have applauded, as committed as the dissidents and activists you have heard from, as audacious as those who start movements for peace when all seems lost. Together, I do believe it is part of the American mission to ensure that people everywhere, women and men alike, finally have the opportunity to live up to their own God-given
like the video?
Great.
It's powerful, right? Good afternoon. I'm Arita Bohannan, and I'm excited to be here to talk to you today. But I wanted to start with some of the taglines from that video. Some of them are magical to me. What's your calling in life? When life hits you hard, hit back. While most are dreaming of success, winners wake up and achieve success. If you feel like giving up, look back and see how far you've reached already. Failure is an opportunity to begin again, only this time more wisely. Margaret Thatcher, the lady's not for turning. Some failure is inevitable unless you live so cautiously that you might not have lived at all. In that case, you failed by default. Fear is nothing more than an obstacle that stands in the way of progress. And then it ends with, live your calling. What on earth am I here for? And I'm not the biggest Oprah fan, I'll be honest with you. But that prayer, use me, God, use me. Use this life. I don't know what the future holds for me, but I know that there's a vision for my life that is greater than my imagination can hold. So use me, use me. What would you have me do? It's good stuff, right? The bio that was read a little bit about me and the bio that's in your program, it's a snapshot in time of where I am. It reflects a woman who is successful in many ways. A woman that I'm proud that I have become. But I have to be honest, it was a journey. I was born to a very poor teenage enlisted soldier in the Army. I was born an Army brat. He was 17, my mom was 16. Neither had an education. They had no money, obviously. They had no real opportunity. They had a family that loved them, but that couldn't afford to give them a better life. But what they did have is they had a love for each other, and they had really good, strong family values. When I was 8 years old, I was sexually assaulted. And just so that you know, sexual predators come in every shape and form: teachers, neighbors, uncles, in my case, a soldier. The soldier that was my accuser was prosecuted to the full extent of the law, served some time in Leavenworth for what he did. But being made to testify with my accused, with my perpetrator sitting next to me, it changed me. That courtroom changed me. Being born to poor parents with little education changed me. It formed me. I remember my dad was stationed at Fort Belvoir for a short time for a medical issue that my sister had. And we came there unexpectedly, so they didn't have housing for us. So they put us in officers' housing. And I remember the first day on the bus that one of the kids asked who I was. Who's the new girl? Because I had just come there in the middle of a school year, like many of us Army brats do. And another boy interjected, she's that enlisted guy's kid. She's not supposed to live here. And I started that school year feeling less than. Less than what, I'm not sure. And sometimes I think of that kid and I wonder what prison he ended up in. But that opinion by a stranger and by a child changed me. And, you know, the truth is, I was born to an enlisted soldier. He later became Sergeant First Class Peter Thomas Lips. He's retired from the Army, a decorated soldier in his own right. I am proud that I was born to him. Thank God I was born to him. Because what he was made me what I am. He changed me. I think the only difference between my dad and an officer is the opportunity that he had before coming in the Army, not after. And just like my spirit, his was to make what you can out of what you're given. He made lemons out of lemonade. You know, he did become a highly decorated and a soldier that the Army could be proud of, and that we certainly are. And so I decided that that kid was wrong about me, and he was definitely wrong about my dad, who I worshipped. And I set out to prove him wrong, little by little, and I did. I graduated from high school just outside the gates here in Waynesville High School. I went on to LSU, where I graduated. I graduated college summa cum laude. I went on to law school had to fight my way in because I don't come from a long line of lawyers and I don't come from money. So it was a challenge. So they let me in on probation, and I told the guy that day, I said, "You're not going to get me out of here." And I was right. I graduated. I won several of the school's trial competitions that they had, and I just decided they weren't going to get me out. I was going to make it. I started my office about 13 years ago. Literally, I graduated, found out I passed the bar on a Saturday, and by Monday we had rented office space. That was not my smartest move, probably. In the beginning, about 90% of all my business came from Fiercely Advertising. I'm proud to tell you that 13 years later, I hardly advertise. Most of my business is referral-based. My primary area of practice of law is family law, which is the most difficult area of the law, and the one that most lawyers do not like to do. And yet in a city of thousands of attorneys, I mean literally, New Orleans has thousands of attorneys, I'm the one that judges and court staff send their family members to. I get many of my referrals from the courthouse. I was appointed to the Louisiana Disciplinary Board, where I sit as a judge over attorneys who are accused of violating our ethics and professionalism rules. I'm held in high regard in that area. This is a profession that is traditionally dominated by men. I've authored a courtroom thriller that has won awards, both as a first-time author and also in the thriller category. I'm incredibly active in politics. Just this week, we have a big judge race that's happening in New Orleans. 3 of the candidates have called me and asked for meetings. Why? I'm not going to make them win. But they know that between the different boards that I sit on and how I am regarded in my profession, that my opinion has some value. And they know that people will ask me. So what's my secret, right? Like, what makes me so special? I'm not special. I can tell you that. In fact, I was probably born not to be where I am, but I am anyway. And I think that the secret is that I've just decided that my dreams are real. So that's the snapshot I was talking about of me earlier. That snapshot is not the whole story. The truth is that it took me 2 decades to get here in front of you. That I lived on bean burritos and ramen noodles to get through college. I borrowed, I begged, I worked. I worked 2 jobs when I had to. I studied on lunch breaks. I graduated law school $100,000 in debt. I lived in a 1-bedroom shack outside the campus because I couldn't afford the dorms. And folks, when you can't afford dorms at a state college, you're broke. I mean, broke. But I did have one thing that few people do have. I had determination, and I decided I was going to persevere. I stopped dreaming of success, like they said in the video, and I started working for success. And I know what you're thinking. It's easy for me to stand up here and say, you can do it, go chase your dreams. It's all the cliches, right? You've been told since birth you can do whatever you want to do. You can be whatever you want to be. And tonight, many of you are going to go back to your barracks. You're going to wake up tomorrow at 4 a.m., especially you ladies. You're going to pull your hair back as tight as you can so that when you're standing next to your male counterparts, you look the same, so that you don't stand out. And everything will be the same as it is today. Well, you can't exist like that. The only one stopping you is you. So is that your dream, to blend? For some of us it is. For many ladies it is. I call these ladies Mrs. Hospital Corners. Seriously, they're always careful, they're always quiet, they're almost always regretful. But what if you dared to think a little more? Like John Taffer says on Bar Rescue all the time, if you change the way you think, you will change the way you are. Are you here to serve your country? To put in a few years and then move on to the career that you really dreamed of? Are you a lifer? There's nothing wrong with either one. Just be honest with yourself about which one you are. Because then you can accomplish that ultimate goal. Don't stay in because you're afraid of what's out there. Don't leave because you're afraid of the sacrifice that the Army will demand of you. If you plan to retire with the military, then what kind of soldier are you? Are you the kind that bravely risked their life for another soldier on a battlefield? Or are you the kind that leads those guys? Whichever it is, don't half-ass it. Pick which one you are, and then go chase and be that to the fullest. Set a goal. Now, you're going to have male counterparts that are going to tell you that you can't do it, or belittle you, or intimidate you. But guess what? You're going to have females that do the same thing. Do they stop you? Do they define you? Who decides? I want to challenge you today to think different, to be different, to be more. I can tell you how to do it. The women in the video, they can tell you how to do it. Hell, we've had generations of women who have paved the way for you to do it. And before we had reasons, right? And in many countries, they still have reasons why. They are held back and held down, and they are smothered. But American women, we just have excuses. I've never been told someone no, and I actually believe them. Hell, to me, no means go find another way. What's no mean to you? What do you hear when someone tells you no? And ladies, if you're waiting to be truly equal, get over it. Certain races, my own included, I'm American Indian, believe their misfortune might be because of their race, some because of their gender, some because they're too short, they can never do that. Some their eyesights are too bad, so they can never be a pilot. Whatever it is, here's what we do know. The laws have progressed in such a manner that it's not necessarily the law, but the way that we as humans interpret and put the law in effect that is making us unequal. It is a fact that women earn less than men. It's a fact. There's nothing to debate. If that disappoints you, then don't go have tea with the ladies and gripe about it. Participate. Vote. Effectuate change. Don't sit on the sidelines and wait for a fellow lady to lead the way for you. You be that leader. Because we as a populace of women are strong. We persevere in a way that men can't understand. Sorry, fellas. And I don't believe they could possibly do. It doesn't make us better than them. It just makes us different. And there's room at the table for all of us. But no one's going to give you a seat. You have to take it. You have to decide and then take it. And when you're told no, because you will be, for the love of God, don't cry about it. Find a way around it. Like that kid on the bus. What opinions define you? Are they right? Be honest with yourself. I implore you to ask yourself, what on earth am I here for? And then live your calling. Be determined, be committed, but please just don't be afraid. You know, I'm the mother of two fantastic little boys. They're 10 and 12. It's funny, the women's activist has two sons. God has a sense of humor. My 10-year-old drank spoiled milk at school. And he comes home going on and on about how he threw up in the trash can at school in front of everyone from spoiled milk, and he's never drinking milk again. So now when he drinks milk, he has us all smell it. Well, by some stroke of bad luck, the milk smelled fine. And then when he drank it, it wasn't. And he drank spoiled milk for the second time. Yeah. So now he insists on not just the smell test, but there has to be one taste test volunteer. So I've told him, I'm like, buddy, you can't be afraid to drink milk. You love milk. I said, you can't. Sometimes you're going to have spoiled milk. That's life. Sometimes milk spoils. But you can't not drink the milk, right? The same applies to our lives. We can't be afraid to drink the milk. And I wanted to tell you not to confuse equality with sameness. We should strive and we should insist on equality in many areas. Equal pay for equal work, for example. But don't try to be the same. Not the same as men, and I mean not even the same as each other, right? And what's so wrong with being different anyway? Yes, I wear makeup and my toenails are painted. But if you think for 1 minute that I'm not going to rip you up one side of that courtroom and right down the other, you have misjudged me. Afterwards, I'm going to give you a firm handshake and a smile. I'm going to tuck your manhood into my purse, and I'm going to go on up. And I'm not going to have beers with the guys. I'm probably going to have champagne at the spa. But I'm equal. And at the end of the day, I've accomplished equal work for my client. I don't need to be a guy. I'm not trying to be a guy. And I don't think that my sex is going to control my destiny. I have decided the definition of success for me, and I will decide if I've accomplished it. So don't let anyone define you. Don't let anyone label you. Don't let anyone prohibit you. Only one person in your life can take control, only one. And it's not your male counterparts, it's not your female officer, superior officers, it's not your parents, it's not your husband. Only you can decide if you'll drink the milk. Like the video said, what on earth am I here for? Now decide, and then go live your destiny. I wanted to thank you guys so much for inviting me today. I want to give special thanks, of course, to Brenda Clark and Sergeant Marilyn Long. Is it Staff Sergeant? Am I saying it wrong? Okay. Staff Sergeant Marilyn Long and Sergeant First Class Michael Wynn. They were here way before you guys got here, organizing and setting this up. And Ms. Clark's been working with me for weeks. I really want to express thanks to the military and, of course, the Army. I'm an Army brat. But it's wonderful to have a forum that celebrates women and encourages women. But ladies, they can't do more than open the doors for you. You got to decide if you're going to walk through. And if you walk through, how are you walking through? Quietly and sliding onto the side? Or are you walking right in? So decide, and then go live your destiny. Thank you.
At this time, Colonel Hirsch and Command Sergeant Major Williams will present Ms. Bohannan with a token of our appreciation. The gift we are presenting to Ms. Bohannan is a small token of our appreciation for her honoring us with her presence and her inspirational words. The gavel is a tribute to her success as an attorney and her desire to continue moving forward. It reads, presented to Ms. Arita M.L. Bohannan, 26 August 2014, for being a strong advocate for women's equality. Ladies and gentlemen, Command Sergeant Major Williams.
Alrighty, hey, I appreciate everyone coming out today. I'll tell you like this, Ms. Bohannan, thank you very much for those inspiring words. All right, thank you very much for coming and uplifting everyone in the building. All right, I want to thank Chef Sergeant Rodriguez. Great job, national anthem. Great job. All right, great job. We're gonna have some more of these competitions, so just continue that, okay? You won't be, that's all right. Wherever you go, just continue, because you sing very well, all right? Chef Sergeant Long, thank you for reading the proclamation. We appreciate that, all right? Just give her a round of applause also. All right, and Chaplain, thank you. We appreciate that. You said a lot, but hey, we appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. All right. Hey, I want to thank the EO and Sharp team for getting together, putting this together. We definitely needed that, and great forum for it and things like that. Okay. Just a couple of words. All right. I know we talked about dreams. Okay, and my quote is this. All right. Without dreams, the journey will never begin. Without dreams, the journey will never begin. So make sure you continue to dream. And once you dream, set some goals. Once you set those goals, go it on and fight to get there, all right? Don't let nobody stand in your way. Those are little forks in the road or little bumps in the road. That's okay. You bypass those and continue your dream, all right? Hey, today women are nearly 50% of our workforce. The majority of students in our colleges and graduate from school and are growing and a growing number of breadwinners in their families, all right? From businesses to medicine to our military, women are leading the fields that were closed off to them only decades ago. We owe the legacy of progress to our mothers, our aunts, our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers, women who proved not only that opportunity and equality do not come without a fight, but also that they are possible. Even with the gains we have made, we still have work to do. as we mark this 94th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, was just giving the women the right to vote. However, it opened up so much more. That glass ceiling they always talk about, it is definitely coming down. All right, it is definitely coming down. All right. Let us reflect on how far we have come toward fully realizing the basic freedoms enshrined in our founding document. Rededicate ourselves to closing the gaps that remain and continue to widen the doors of opportunity for all of our daughters and sons. All right? So that's what we're fighting for, and let's continue to march along on that fight. All right? Thank you very much for coming out, and I think that does it, doesn't it?